Have you ever noticed how roosters seem to know exactly when morning is coming? Long before alarms go off or the sun fully rises, that familiar crow cuts through the quiet. Most of us grow up assuming it's just a reaction to daylight, something automatic and simple. But what if that assumption is wrong? What if the timing, the sound, and even who crows first actually matter more than we realize? Today, we're taking a closer look at why roosters crow in the morning, unpacking what's really going on behind that iconic call and why it happens when it does. Stick around as we unravel this everyday mystery, right here, on History of Simple Things. At its core, the rooster's crow is a biological behavior rooted in instinct and physiology. Roosters, like all birds, have a highly developed vocal organ called the syrinx, which allows them to produce loud and complex calls. Unlike the human larynx, the syrinx sits at the base of the trachea and can create sounds using the airflow and muscular control unique to birds. The crow itself starts deep in the rooster's chest as air passes over vibrating tissues, and the sound is amplified to be heard over long distances. This physical mechanism is universal among roosters regardless of breed or environment, and it's finely tuned to produce the attention-grabbing calls we associate with morning. But the sound is just the beginning. What makes a rooster crow is not a mechanical reflex. It's a complex behavior shaped by internal and external cues that we'll explore next. One of the biggest misconceptions about rooster crowing is that it's purely a reaction to sunlight. In reality, roosters and many other animals have circadian rhythms, internal biological clocks that cycle roughly every 24 hours. These internal clocks are regulated by patterns of light and dark, but they don't rely exclusively on the sun rising. Even in constant darkness, roosters will maintain a rhythm of activity and rest. In the hours just before dawn, the rooster's body begins to ramp up its alertness and activity levels due to these rhythms, and crowing becomes more likely. Essentially, the morning crow is triggered by the rooster's internal clock anticipating daylight, not just responding to it. This is why roosters in artificially lit barns or indoor environments will crow on a schedule that matches lights turning on, even if it doesn't align with the sun. Crowing isn't random noise, it's a form of communication. Roosters use their calls to announce presence, set boundaries, and signal status to other roosters nearby. Morning is a particularly important time for this because it marks a transition from rest to activity, when animals begin moving and territories are most likely to overlap. By crowing early, a rooster establishes itself audibly before physical encounters ever happen. Within a flock, these calls also reinforce hierarchy, helping maintain order without constant confrontation. Each rooster's crow is distinct enough to be recognized, allowing chickens and rival roosters to know exactly who is calling and from where. Crowing is closely tied to a rooster's stage of development. Young male chickens don't crow immediately. The behavior emerges gradually as they mature and hormone levels rise. Testosterone plays a key role in shaping not just whether a rooster crows, but how often and how confidently it does so. Early crows are often irregular or incomplete, becoming stronger and more consistent over time. Changes in a rooster's environment, such as competition within the flock or the presence of other roosters, can also influence crowing frequency, showing that the behavior responds to both internal biology and social context. While internal clocks and hormones are major factors, environmental triggers also influence crowing, Roosters don't crow only at sunrise. They crow throughout the day in response to disturbances, new sounds, changes in light, or the presence of people, animals, or other flocks. Studies of chicken behavior show that roosters will often crow more when they detect movement or noise that breaks the pattern of their environment. For example, a rooster might crow when a farmer enters the yard, when a predator is near, or when a loud vehicle drives by. In this sense, crowing becomes a general alert system, a way of saying something's happening to both the flock and any nearby roosters. Morning is simply one of the most predictable times for these triggers because light is increasing and the day's activity is ramping up. For humans, the rooster's crow has long felt purposeful, as if the animal is announcing the arrival of the day. This impression has been reinforced over generations because the sound is so consistent and so noticeable during the quiet hours before sunrise. Before clocks were common, people relied on natural cues to mark time, and the rooster became a reliable signal that morning was approaching. Over time, this reliability turned into a simple explanation. Roosters crow because the sun rises. While modern science shows the behavior is more complex, this long-standing association helps explain why the idea remains so widespread and intuitive. Roosters crow in the morning because multiple factors align: internal biological rhythms, hormonal development, social communication, and environmental changes. These elements make early hours particularly noticeable for crowing, giving the impression that it's purely a response to sunrise. In reality, it's a sophisticated behavior shaped by evolution and adaptation, reflecting both instinct and interaction with the surrounding world. The next time you hear a rooster greet the day, remember it's more than an alarm clock. It's a carefully timed signal that combines biology, behavior, and environment in a way that's been fine-tuned over generations. Thank you for watching. If you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the history of simple things. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more stories woven through the smallest details.